Yes, everybody. Welcome back in the building. Guys, this is very much so a spontaneous live. This is a spontaneous live because I've had so much on my mind today around the past weekend, around how we move forward. As you can see, I pulled up for you guys our next two fixtures: PSV on Wednesday night in the Champions League, and then probably even more so importantly, the league, because we need to get back on track in the league. We have West Ham away. That's going to be a very difficult game on Sunday. But I just wanted to check in with everybody in the building to see how you guys were doing. And I just need to check in because right now I feel so incredibly frustrated, and I feel like a lot of us probably want to have a space that we can come together just to have a quick chat. This is probably not going to be a long live, to be honest. It's going to be a quick one. But I just wanted to see how everybody was doing in the building. I see Elena's in the building. Theo, nice to see you. We need to lock in. Absolutely, we need to. GS Warrior. Wait, GS Warrior, aren't you a City fan? Theo says, what do you think is the main problem? I think our mentality. I think there's a major mentality issue right now, which is every single player on that pitch. You know what I mean? Maybe not Dominic Szoboszlai, but everybody else, there's something that's not right mentally. You know what I mean? And that's why I hear a lot of people saying, oh, Slot should change the tactic to this or that. I actually don't think it's about that. I don't think it's down to tactics right now. I think it's something bigger. I think there's a mentality that's not right, and that's the only way I think Slot keeps his job is if he's able to turn around the mentality of the players, which is making sure that they put in 110% every single game, because we see how the margins are in the Premier League. If you're not at it, you can lose 3-0 at home in the Premier League to a team that's in 19th place, and that's exactly what happened this weekend. You know what I mean? That's the problem. My final exams, Elena, did they go well? Do you think we'll win against PSV? I think so. Are you going to watch United versus Everton? Probably not. Maybe little bits of it, but not really, no. Wait, GS Warrior, I thought you were a City fan. Hayden Martin says, zero bias. Do you think Verts was worth his price tag or even worth buying? Yes. I'm not going to be reactionary. It's like you asked me about any of our summer signings, whether it be Kirkez, whether it be Frimpong, whether it be Verts, Ekitike, Alexander Isak, whatever it may be. Like I said, for me, there's a bigger issue going on, and I genuinely, and I'm telling you without bias, I cannot give my verdict or know whether a player is going to be successful or not when there's a major, obviously you can see we're in crisis situation. In a crisis situation, new signings are not going to be able to adapt because our most experienced players, think about Mohamed Salah, think about Virgil van Dijk, even they're struggling. And imagine they've known this league for what, 9-10 years? More. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is where I think I can't personally rate any of the new signings. I really can't, because even Flo has been played in so many different positions. The manager needs to stick to one position and say, this is how it's going to be. But like I said, for me, again, my personal opinion, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think, I don't think it's a tactical issue. Whether we play a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1, for whatever formation you want to bring up, genuinely, I don't think that's the issue. And I think we could see it on the football pitch. For me, it's a mental thing. And that's what's almost most concerning to me, because if it continues like this, then it's clear to see that the players don't believe in the vision anymore. The big vision. And that's bigger than any tactic can be. That's bigger than any tactic can be, in my opinion, That one friend, thank you for the super chat. Says, can you put a poll up asking if people want Slot to be sacked? I'm gonna put a poll asking if people are Slot in or Slot out, okay? That one friend, since you've just asked. I will do it. But I'm not a fan of those type of polls. Personally, I'm not. The reason I'm not a fan is because I think we have to have better solutions. And right now, I don't see better solutions out there. And the reason why me personally, I would have made a video. The reason I'm not slot out yet is not because I think it's okay what's going on within the team right now or results, whatever it may be. Trust me, I'm not. But I haven't seen anybody suggest a better option than Anislat for the long term. And I don't think it's smart to sack a manager for the short term. Because right now we're 3 points off top four? This is what I mean. Yes, we're in crisis situation, but we're also not in a crisis situation where I would sack a manager to go for someone in the short term. I wouldn't. That's just me. And the fact that Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes think the same, who know way more about football than we do, says something. You know what I mean? Because again, I think it's so easy to have reactionary takes without better solutions, is my personal opinion. But again, I'm never going to judge someone for saying slot out in this moment in time because I understand the frustrations too. And it's part of football. Everybody has their opinion. And for me, I value and I respect everybody's opinion. People might not respect mine, I understand that, but that's my way of seeing the world. Even if someone doesn't agree with what I think politically, whatever it may be, I personally really believe in listening to someone else's opinion. I think that's really important. You know what I mean? DRIN, thank you for the super chat as well, says, I just don't get why we never replaced Fabinho. That's a very good point. DRIN, I think the two positions, and this is why obviously I would take Antoine Semenyo, bro. He's one of the best attackers in the league this season. But in my opinion, the two positions that are the biggest priorities right now, a center back first and foremost, so Marc Guéhi, let's just say, and a defensive mid. And that's not to say that Gravenberch wasn't fantastic in his position last season, but clearly Slot doesn't trust Endo for whatever reason. So I don't think it makes sense for Endo to stay around. I don't think it makes sense for him to stick around when clearly Slot doesn't trust him. And I think we need, again, an out-and-out defensive mid. I think one of the reasons we also became so successful under Klopp, was when we brought in Fabinho. Because years and years back, we had a world-class defensive mid in Mascherano. Since the time we sold Mascherano to Barcelona, I don't think we ever replaced that position, a proper defensive mid, until the time when we signed Fabinho from Monaco. I always was saying we need a defensive mid, someone to protect the back four. And now I think we're back in that kind of situation, especially this season where it feels like Gravenberch has wanted to go forward a bit more. He even said it after the derby where he scored against Everton. He said he's having more free. His dad told him to roam forward more often and stuff. And that just tells me his natural desire is maybe to not play as a defensive-minded midfielder first, but maybe more as an 8, someone who can make those runs in the final third and be more involved in the attack than just protecting the defense. And I think in this moment in time, especially in this crisis moment, it would help a lot to have someone whose sole kind of priority is just to protect our back four, because it feels like in this moment in time, there is no protection, you know? And I'm not going to put all that blame on Gravenberch because I don't think he's an out-and-out 6, you know? Big up, Bossman. Thank you for the super chat as well, who says, when January window comes, we will get a center back and a defensive mid and a right wing done. Bossman, you think we're going to sign 3 players in January? You really think we're going to sign 3 players? Big up, Scottish Scouser, who's been a community support member for 1 month, says, if we lose to West Ham... Yeah, if we lose to West Ham, I think that's big trouble. Crazy FC guy, thank you for the super chat as well. Says, Leo, we need Gerrard now. Have a great week. You'll never walk alone. Crazy FC guy, have a great week too. But I do not agree with that shout of we need Stevie G. That's the last person that I would ever want to take over from Slot. Because he struggled in other jobs. For example, at Villa, he struggled. At Liverpool, he would have 10 times the amount of pressure as he did at Aston Villa. And I have way too much love for Stevie G. You see him. He's literally in my freaking background, bro. Stevie G, there's no player I've ever loved more than Stevie. He's the reason I started supporting the club. it would be the most painful thing if it didn't succeed for him at Liverpool. And right now, I don't think he's proven enough outside in management to warrant him getting the job. I don't think so. And I think he would genuinely say the same. I don't think he would want to take on that responsibility until he's proven, you know what I mean, that he's capable of it. So no, Stevie G, I'm sorry, that's definitely not what I would be looking at personally. The type of manager I would be looking at. But Scottish Scouser says, yo, what's good, Leo? LFC football, it's good but bad right now. We're not playing well. We're not playing well. That's the truth, bro. We're not playing well. But yeah, boss man, tell me, you actually think we're going to bring in 3 players? You really think we're going to bring in 3 players? Oh, God, official. Do you think we still have the ability to win the Prem? Definitely not this season. That's out of the question this season. No doubt about it. No doubt about it this season. I know, Liverpool lover. That's why we're in a crisis. You're in a crisis situation. And honestly, I think we can all feel for United fans right now because I feel like how Man United fans have felt for the last 10 years. I mean, their club, let's be honest, has been in crisis mode for the last 10 years. I feel like they would look at an easy, quote unquote, easy schedule, right? Because it looks like winnable games and it never ends up being a run of winnable games. And I think when we looked at this schedule coming up for us, like I looked at Forest at home, I was like, absolutely, we can win that game. Obviously, we were far from that, but I feel like right now we can really feel what it's like to be a United fan. You know what I mean? And how bad they've been for a decade. So that's how I think you're in crisis mode when you're anywhere near where United represent. I think that's how you're in crisis mode. You know what I mean? Because you look at what looks like a winnable run and you're actually not that confident. You know what I mean? Funny 67's back. How is this 67? Bro, how is this 67 still coming back? Who says, hi Leo, do you think you can sign Bastoni? Paul, maybe. I don't think we'll sign Bastoni. I think it's much more likely we'll sign Mark Gahey. But that would be an incredible signing for us. I really want us to get Mark Gahey because I also think he can be the long-term replacement for Virgil van Dijk because he can play left center back and he's really captain's material. So I would get Mark Gahey. But obviously Bastoni is one of the best defenders in the world. I just don't see him leaving Italy, to be honest. Not that I know that much about Italian football, but the people I've heard speak about Italian football say that he's not the type that would leave. That's just what I've heard. You know? I don't mind it. Says, honestly, our defending is bad, but in my opinion, we have big problems with how we build up. Bro, this is what I mean. You know how I started this live and I'm so confident in what I'm saying here. I don't think there's one part of football in general right now, you guys. I don't think there's one part of football that we're doing well. Genuinely. And what I mean by that is you can say our defending, our build-up, our pressing, our look at our set pieces, any part of like you look at like how you define modern football and let's say we made a list of the different things. So like I said, set pieces, build-up, defensive unity, right? You could make a list, and I don't think we're doing one of those things right. And what does that tell me? That tells me that's not a tactical thing. That's mentally there's something that's really, really off. And I think this week, and the reason why I wanted to do this live and discuss with you guys is I think this is peak crisis in terms of, for me, yes, results, obviously it's a results based business, so the results we have to win these games. But I also think we have to see what the mentality of these players are. I think we have to see what their desire, their work rate, all of these basic things that for me are beyond tactics. And if I don't see an improvement in that in this week, then I think it's I don't see how Arne Slot turns it around. And you guys know how positive I am with everything, and this is why for me this moment hurts so much, because I always want to be positive and I want football to be that positive light in our lives because it means so much to us. But I'm also looking at the reality, and it's a disaster right now, and this is what for me I'm going to be on the lookout the most from PSV to West Ham this week is, do the players look like they're on board with the vision of the manager, of the coach? And if they're not, then I think it can continue being on the downhill. It can continue being on the downhill if they're, you know what I mean? So that one friend, thank you again for the super chat, who says, we're in crisis when we're not showing up in the top 10 on Sky. Oh, man, I can't believe it, bro. I really can't believe it. The position that we're in. Stop the spammers. Let me put slow mode. Hold on. Leo, what did we do differently at the start of the season when we were doing so well? Virgil, I think, first off, I don't think we were doing so well at the start of the season in terms of, not that it was lucky to get all those late winners, but I think it was warning signs that we didn't have any control in the way we went about our games. The fact that we needed those late winners to get those wins over the line. But I also think in football, it is so much about confidence and about kind of the rhythm that you're on. So if you're on a kind of winning run, things kind of go your way because you have that positive mindset. But I think the opposite is true too, where when things are going wrong, it's really hard to turn that around. And I think we're kind of seeing polar opposites. But the main thing that I do think you can take from the entire season, whether we've won or lost, because we obviously went on a winning run at the start of the season, is the fact that we don't have any control over our games, and that needs to come back. We need to start keeping clean sheets again. Like the first two games, I think we conceded 4 goals, right? We played Bournemouth, we conceded twice at Anfield, and we conceded twice against Newcastle. We need some measure of control, and that's how I would have defined Arne Slot last season. I would say that he was so bold in his decision making from match week 1, and we had control over our games. And that's gone now. It's the opposite of that. But what I don't understand is the fact that how can it be so drastically different from last season to this season? Because those two words that I just used, which is control and bold, is how I would have defined Arne Slot last season. He wasn't lucky with those two words that I defined him by. Anybody who says last season was lucky, the fact that we won the league, is being reactionary in this moment in time. And I would have defined, after 38 games, I would have defined Arne Slot as bold and controlling in his style of play. And it's the opposite of what's happening now. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm very, very confused as to what's going on. It's really hard to understand. You know what I mean? Have you seen the poll? Let me check up on the poll. Now over 300 of you guys have voted. Over 300 of you guys have voted, and it's basically 50-50. 48% of you guys are saying slot in, 52% are saying slot out. So it's very close between the two. Amir says PSV will be the first time I go, hoping it's not as bad as the performance versus Forest. I think it's got to be better, surely. Is the reason we can't feed Isak because we don't have Trent? Nah, bro, it's beyond Trent. It's beyond any individual right now. Like I said, it's a mentality issue. It's a real deep mentality issue right now. I know Piano Owl, none of it makes sense. And that's why I think it's better to steer away from being too reactionary. Because like I just mentioned, any Liverpool fan would have agreed that the two words we describe Slaw by last season was bold and controlling in his style of play. And the fact that we're seeing the opposite of that this season tells me there's something just really wrong right now. But how long can that last? You know? How long can that last? Ziad says, Leo, do you think Salah is the problem like other creators? Absolutely not, bro. Salah is not the problem. And neither is... I said this, bro, in my reaction just after we lost to Forest. Anybody that says Salah is the problem can then go on a run right now, given how we're playing. They can go say Ibu Konate is the problem. They can say Kirkez is the problem. They can say Cody Gakpo is the problem. They can say Alexis McAllister is the problem. You can pick your player. Alexander Isak. If this many players aren't performing for you, there is a deeper issue going on. It's clear to see. And this is why I will never blame individuals in this moment in time. Yes, they need to be giving more. There's no doubt about that. But the fact that world-class, experienced players like Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah aren't at the levels right now tells you everything. They're masters of consistency, and they're not even delivering that right now. So what does that say? You know what I'm saying? Chess Professional says, if you could sign Carlos Baleba or Adam Wharton, who would you get? Bro, Adam Wharton is insane. I know someone who's a Palace fan who goes to every Palace game home and away, and he was telling me how Palace played against Wolves this weekend. The Wolves fans were clapping Adam Wharton because they couldn't believe how good he was. Imagine that level of talent. He's very, very special. Adam Wharton. Very, very special. And I think it would probably take, I don't know how many years is left on his contract, but I don't think Palace, they're really tough in the way they sell. I don't think they would let him go for anything less than 100 million in this market. Anything less than 100 million. Patrick says we need to drop Konate and play Gomez in the defense. I agree. I made a video about that today. Who would you rather win today, Everton or United? A draw. Please, I would much rather a draw. I would much rather a draw. Do you think Endo should leave? Yeah, bro. Slot clearly doesn't trust him for his own sake. You know what I mean? Because I think he's a really good player and he can be, bro, he was the captain of Stuttgart before he came to Liverpool. He can be a crucial player for another team. But it's just so sad to me to see that Endo doesn't get any playing time, for example. But that's part of the stubbornness of Slot. Do we blame Slot for the players' performances? Yes. Shred it's. I think we do. I think we do. But like I said before, the reason I'm not as reactionary as some saying Slot already is because every suggestion I've heard about a replacement hasn't been better, hasn't gotten me excited for the future. And for me, whatever decision we make, Liverpool Football Club has never been a club that makes a decision about sacking a manager with just short term thinking. That's Man United. That's other clubs. We've never sacked a manager saying, oh, in the short term, let's do this. We're not. And I'm telling you, every suggestion I've heard, for me, doesn't excite me. If you told me Xabi Alonso, I could understand. If you told me some other, but that's not a reality. And no one suggested that because it's not the reality. And this is what I mean when people say that. It's like in anything in life, it's so easy to say something if you don't have actual realistic solutions to follow up with it, is my personal opinion. We need Leo and Gehi. Bro, Zidane, for example, there's a 0% chance, Theo. Why? I follow the French media, right? Because I live in France. I'm telling you, he's one of the managers that achieved absolutely everything in club football. He won 3 Champions Leagues in a row with Real Madrid. I think the only job he's waiting for now is the French national team job. He wants to experience glory with the national team. He's waiting for that job, and it's already been announced that Didier Deschamps is going to step down next summer after the World Cup. So he already has a timeline now, I think, of when he gets back into management. And all the French media are saying it's going to be the French national team job. That's the one he's waiting for. And honestly, he has the resume to be able to just wait for whatever job he wants. He's not the type of guy who's just going to be forced into taking a job he might not want. You know what I mean? I appreciate you, Arnav. Tam says, "What do you think about the possible signing of Semenyo, bro? It looks like we've been linked with him more and more. Of course, I would take him, but for me, the bigger priority would be a center back. I would want someone like a Margehi before. Our defensive issues for me are way bigger than anything else. Like the fact that we've conceded that many goals so far this season is very telling. You know." So I would look at a center back before I think about Semenyo, who would cost way more than a Margay would cost. You know what I mean? Bro, I wish we had Giovanni Leoni right now, but he's out till the rest of the season. He won't be back till the 2026, 2027 season. It's not going to be for a long while till he's back. Kiarad says, do you think Slot should be trusting some players? Yes, bro, absolutely. I think we're all begging Chiesa to start. We're all begging Gomez to start. We're all begging Robbo to start. There's many positions in the team where he just has to be bolder. He has to take risks because right now we have nothing to lose, bro. This is rock bottom. You know what I mean? So yes, he needs to be bolder. Absolutely. That's something I'm Abzinho, I agree it's unacceptable to be sitting in 11th. I agree. Love from South Africa. Big up Florian Wirtz. Does Gehi still want to come here at this point? I hope so. I hope so. My worry is that Real Madrid probably want him too because he only has 6 months left on his contract. So they can offer him a pre-contract. That's my worry, bro. Bro, in this Everton United game so far, by the way, Everton have looked a much better side, even though it's at Old Trafford. Everton have actually looked a lot better than United have so far. Frimpong, by the way, it says he's working hard to come back soon. I think he could be back in a week or two. In a week or two. Abzinho, trust me, that would have already been the case. That they would have had a serious talk with Slot. I think this week there has to be a difference. This week there has to be a difference. Like I said, if these two games, the PSV one at home and the West Ham away, if we not only don't get results but we don't see a shift in the mentality, I don't know how he turns that around. I really don't. You know what I mean? There's just too much quality that's being wasted. There's just too much quality. Bro, Everton are playing better than United right now. Of course, I would take Bastoni, bro, but it's not a reality. Like I said, I think he's very happy to stay in Italy. I think he's very happy to stay in Italy. I could see him being staying at Inter for many, many years. Do you think Gay he still wants to join us? I think he will. I think he does. The reason unless Real Madrid have crazy interest in him, the reason I think he still wants to join us is because he would be joining for the long term project. And just like these signings, I was asked earlier, do you think Isaac is a flop? Do you think Verts is a flop? No, because we signed these players for many, many years, and I'm only gonna judge them based off of after, let's say, 3 seasons. But right now, clearly, there's a crisis going on at the club. You know what I mean? And so I'm not gonna judge our new signings in moments of crisis. And I think Gahey will be thinking about his long term future, not the next few months or not one season. He's going to be looking at the next 5 to 6 seasons. And when you look at this Liverpool squad for the next 5 to 6 seasons, special things will happen, whether that's with Slot or not. He needs to get his act together, that's for sure. But I believe Gahey will be looking at the long term, and the quality that's at Liverpool. I do think so. But like I said, if Real Madrid show major interest, then yeah, I could see him choosing Real Madrid over us. I'm not gonna lie. That's You'd have to be deluded to think that that's not the case. You know what I mean? Even a boyhood Red Scouser Trent chose Real Madrid. You know what I mean? So Amir, I have been on an Anfield Agenda show before, but I haven't spoken to him since. I've never really been in direct contact, honestly. The one time I did go on his show, it was through his producer. So it wasn't even through the Craig from Anfield Agenda. Do you think we can win these 2 matches? Aiden, yes. I'm going to believe it. But we need to then see it happen. It's just like if I go to Anfield now, I'm going to show my full support because that's the way I think fans are defined. But we got to see the performance on the pitch. And they obviously haven't been showing that. Yeah. Abzinho, I completely agree. I don't understand the decision to start Isaac over Ekitike. Predictions for the World Cup, Theo. It's so early to say, but I think Spain are strong favorites. I think Spain are strong favorites, and obviously many people are saying France are favorites as well. But where I'm not convinced is I don't know about Didier Deschamps, the coach, because I just feel like he's not getting the best out of a lot of the players. But obviously, I think probably if you look at the favorites, I would probably say Argentina, France, Spain, maybe those three. You know. Victor says Leo Kara on Monday Night Football said that more players, especially senior players like Salah, have to start speaking out and taking accountability, not just Virgil van Dijk. I don't honestly. I really don't care if you speak. Oh my god! I thought United scored. I thought Bruno scored there, but Victor, my honest opinion on that is I don't care whatever you say post match, pre match, whatever it may be. I just want to see it on the pitch. I really just want to see it on the pitch because if you're losing week in, week out and you're not showing improvement, and then you say after the game, we've given it everything and we need to come back, to me, that means nothing. What I agree with Kara is I need more senior players like Salah to step it up on the pitch for Liverpool. Yes. Yes, that absolutely. But in terms of speaking out to the press and the media and taking accountability that way, I couldn't care less. I genuinely could not care less if they come out. But like I said, for me, the biggest thing is show it on the pitch. Show it on the pitch. I couldn't care less what you say outside of it. Because right now, we just need results. And we need players to step up. And that's just not the case. You know what I mean? Red card for Everton? Idrissa Gana Gueye got sent off? What happened? That's so dumb. Bro, it was for something that happened outside of the play too. Nah, that's so dumb, bro. He's throwing the game away like that for United. That's a huge mistake for Idrissa Gana Gueye, from Idrissa Gana Gueye. Huge mistake. How is he letting his team down like that? I'd be fuming if I was an Everton fan. Bro, of course they'll bottle it now. They're going to play the full game with 10 men. There's no way Everton get a result here now. Idrissa Gana Gueye just got sent off, bro. Weefa, big up, thank you for the super chat. Says we'll pick up 1 point from our next 8 games. It'll be a 0-0 draw against Everton. Oh god, bro. Oh god, these are dark times. These are dark times. Oh, man, imagine how much you're fuming. A player lets you down like that. Do you guys know why Idrissa Gana Gueye got sent off? It was for something that happened outside of the play, which is even worse in my opinion. That just shows there's no control or measure for that player. And now this is going to be an easy win for United now. It's going to be an easy win for United. Bro is fighting his own teammate exactly. For what reason? Bro, I don't know what he did for the red. From the replay, I couldn't see it. Bro. Aiden, I do think we can win these 2 matches. But I go into every Liverpool game thinking we're going to win. Even though I know it's unrealistic at this stage because of what's happening within our team. Weefa says we're going to lose both games. We're going to lose 2-0 against West Ham and 4-1 against PSV. Oh, God. What's for sure is I think the more important of these 2 games is the West Ham one. Obviously, we cannot afford to lose against PSV at Anfield. There's no doubt about that. But for me, if you beat PSV at Anfield and then you lose to West Ham, it kills the meaning of it. You have to win both, or it's there's no justification. You know what I mean? And the problem is West Ham away is going to be very difficult because they're now managed by Nuno, and they're a much much better side than they were, let's say, a month and a half ago. So the West Ham game is actually going to be really tough. And in this moment in time, I can't say I'm confident going into the West Ham away game. I can't say I am. You know what I mean? Oh no, Everton had some chance on the counter, but they messed it up. Oh God, Weefa, you're really saying darker times are coming, and I can't imagine darker times than this, to be honest. Savage, are you a West Ham fan? Oh yeah, I think your profile picture is Bowen. Yeah, bro, West Ham now, you guys, that's one of the best decisions, whoever your ownership is, Savage. The fact that you brought in Nuno, I think he's a top, top, top manager. And that's why it's going to be an extremely difficult game for us, West Ham away, because of your, because of Nuno, because of Nuno. I would have much rather face, I would have much rather we faced you guys like a month and a half ago, and I'm not confident now going into this one. Hugo says it's gotta get worse. Nah, bro, don't tell me that, Hugo. Come on. You got You'll Never Walk Alone in your name. You gotta tell us some positivity, bro, please. You gotta be telling us some positivity, bro. At this rate, will you take the FA Cup? Yes, so long as we get Champions League. The most important thing is Champions League. If you don't get Champions League, it puts your team in a very very difficult financial situation. So at this stage, the most important thing is Champions League, and we're not far off that right now. You know, even though it feels like a crisis situation, when you look at points wise, if you go on a run, we're not in as bad of a situation. The problem is, again, you look at our schedule, it looks like it's not a bad run, but every game looks hard right now. That's how United fans usually feel. United fans usually look at relatively easy runs and it looks impossible. And I think that's how it kind of feels for us Liverpool fans right now, you know? Josh, my favorite Liverpool player right now is Hugo Ekitike. My favorite player from the Klopp era was Bobby Firmino. And my favorite Liverpool player of all time is Stevie G. So I have to put it in like three different um sections, I guess you could say. That's He got sent off, bro. Bro, this is so bad. I'm having a look at the replay of Idrissa Gana Gueye getting sent off for Everton. Bro, it's for an altercation with his own player, Michael Keane. Imagine. Bro, that's crazy. If I was the manager, I'd be fuming. Your own player altercation gets you a red card. Imagine. PSV is at Anfield, Wayne. It's at Anfield on Wednesday night. LC supporter from Port Elizabeth, South Africa. Big up. Bro, it's my dream to visit South Africa because it seems like there's so many incredible Reds based in South Africa. I want to go, bro. I want to go. Fighting with Go 12. He was fighting with Michael Keane. With his old player, Michael Keane. And that's how he got sent off. I cannot believe it, bro. Idrissa Gana Gay has been sent off for slapping his own teammate. How's that possible, bro? How do you get sent off for slapping your own teammate, though? I genuinely need to know. That might be the strangest red card I've ever seen, bro. Genuinely, how do you get sent off for slapping your own teammate? So Ben Jacob says Idrissa Gana Gay was sent off for what the Premier League term a clear strike to the face on the teammate Michael Keane. It follows Idrissa Gay passing the ball to Bruno from inside his own box, almost resulting in a United goal. What the heck, bro? Funny top comment, hear me out, Xavi gets sacked. Imagine. Bro, I'd be surprised though. I thought he had been doing... Have you been watching the Real Madrid games? Funny 67? Because I feel like he hasn't been doing that bad, has he? He hasn't been doing that bad. Right? Lath, I agree. It can only get better, surely. Surely, surely. Everton. Go 12, it's wild. Everton are going to go for a long throw. Funny 67 says I've watched a few of the Real Madrid games. He's won most of his games, but he isn't making the most of Vinny, and the team is starting to have a little dip. They just have to hold on to their child charge. Everton players are addicted to red cards, bro. What do you mean about Bruno from Newcastle? But yeah, about what Jamie Carragher was saying about Salah, what I just feel is like I understand in the media it's good for players to come out this and that, but for me it's all just on the pitch. I just want to see. It's just like when Virgil comes out and says his things now after games. It for me it doesn't have any impact. It doesn't. And I understand that's his role, his duty as a captain. But I just feel like what I want to see is a response on the pitch, and that's it. Like I would much rather Salah steps up and you see him caring so much on the pitch and he's leading in that way than coming out after a loss and saying this isn't good enough. We gotta be better. We know we're better than this. We gotta turn it around when they're not actually doing it on the pitch. You know what I mean? Wait, when do we play Wolves? When is it that we play Wolves? Let me check. So this week we play PSV, West Ham. Bro, we don't play Wolves till 27th of December. It won't be for a while. It won't be for a while. Nah, piano, that could never happen. There's too much quality. Oh my god, what a goal! United, bro. Drewsbury Hall. That's Drewsbury Hall, right, bro? What a finish. Bro, United down to 10 men and they're still in the mud at Old Trafford. Bro, the crazy part is, throughout this game, I thought Everton have been the better side anyways. Now I thought they couldn't get any results because of the fact that they're down to 10 men. But bro, United are not good. I mean, to be fair, that's a screamer in my opinion. He picks it up. Look at the position. Drewsbury Hall picks it up and whoa, that's a banger. That could be goal of the month in my opinion. Look at where he picks it up. No United player could get near him and then he puts it top bins. That's an absolute banger from Drewsbury Hall. Technically from outside the box where it was just on the line. Actually, the keeper gets a touch to it. But bro, United in the mud. We can't even laugh. I know we can't even laugh, but still, United are still crap. It still feels good. Like if you're losing at home to Everton and you're down a man, like I'm sorry, this is bad. I'm sorry, it's just bad. It's just you're not a good football team. I'm sorry. Bro, what a goal that was, honestly. What an unbelievable goal. John said, just when you're feeling low as a red, an Everton player gets sent off for slapping another Everton player. And yet they're 1-0 up. Oh, God. Jeez, United are not good. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to be the end of this live. I'm going to go have dinner now. I wanted us to have a little discussion. Then we went into the United Everton game a little bit, and this looks like it's just. Bro, we have to get better because if we ever get to the state of these two, I know they're both above us right now in the league, but if we finish in the same state of these two teams, it would be real depression. A real depression. But yeah, guys, because I gotta have dinner now. It's almost 10 p.m. here in France. I really felt I wanted to talk to you guys about the current situation because there's just so many feelings, and thankfully we do play again on Wednesday night, so it's our chance to hopefully have some kind of positivity back. But Theo, I think I'm gonna make some pasta. I think I'm gonna make some pasta. The football flow, don't worry about it. I appreciate you always supporting. I appreciate you, the football flow. But yeah, definitely on Wednesday night, guys, that is 100% going to be the next live. This one, like I said, was a spontaneous one because I felt I just wanted to talk to you guys and see where we're at with this situation that feels very stressful. But I gotta eat. And it's 9:30 right now. I think I'm just gonna make some pasta. But but yeah, for those of you that can make it, I hope I will see you guys on Wednesday night. And I hope that things will start to look more positive from there because I know that all fans, Liverpool fans that really care about this club are deeply worried right now, and rightfully so, because we can't hide from our current situation. You know what I mean? Because we all love this football club. So, guys, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night. And like I said, I will see you on Wednesday night. Thank you as always for your support. As Go12 says, ciao, ciao. Ciao, guys. You'll never walk alone. Hopefully, things can only get better from here because I don't see how they can get worse, bro. I don't see how they can because of how much we care, all from a good place. But, anyways, guys, have a beautiful rest of your nights.